Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Lou Reviews, the destination for critical thinking in the realm of the unexplained. Please don't forget to smack that like, share, subscribe button. Helps us in this new YouTube algorithm. Much appreciated. And if you like the show, if you want to support with the almighty dollar, please feel free to do so. The links are in the description below. All right. What's up, everybody? I see everyone in the chat. Looks like, looking at my internet connection, it's not giving me a lot of confidence here, but I see everyone in the chat, so it looks like everything's good so far. Anyway, welcome to all. I am happy that you're here. Today we're going to cover Congressman Eric Burlison's latest comments on the UFO discussion. We're going to talk, and also on David Grusch, we're going to talk about Jeremy Corbell's access to classified material, the Nazca Mummies again, and Sean Kirkpatrick officially announces that he is stepping down as the director of AARO. So, yeah, a few things to talk about. Let me go ahead and just, yeah, kill the music here. Alrighty. So, let's get started with the show, shall we? We've got a few things to talk about. Want to say before we get started, hello to everyone in the show. Swink McLeod, Wise Monkey, Matt's not good at RCs. Thank you for being here. Justin S, Simon Fly, Wise Monkey, I think I said already. James Craig. You guys, thank you all so damn much for being here. All right, East Coast Tina, I see you. I see you, East Coast Tina. Original OG East Coast Tina. Thank you for being here, my lady. Okay, so real quick before I get started, let me just do one thing here on my end. By the way, guys, I think, let's just test this out. Ooh, wait, what's happening? Oh, you know what? I think I got to move this up. There it is. King Milkfart Harassment Archive has become a member. Let's go ahead and play that again. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Eventide has become a member. That was 7 days ago, our last show. So I just want to give love to the people here. Now that I've got these things connected and I can bring you up and give you the appropriate love. Also, if you donate a super chat, should be able to pin it so that we'll be able to see it on the screen as well. So, you know, things like that, like when James Craig donated $10, and we had, you know, we have our little memes that go along with donations as well. All right. So thank you, Eventide. Let's switch to our Lou Reviews studio. Where we can pull everything up here. Yeah, I guess I'll address some things at the end of the show, especially when it comes to Anjali and some of the things I've said today and yesterday. I've been on a tear, and yeah, I think it's just frustrating just seeing all of, ooh, something cool just happened that I missed. Let me go ahead and, ooh, what did I miss? Look at this. James Craig donated $10 with Super Chat. Thank you so damn much. So damn much. Oh, for some reason, the YouTube chats aren't letting me pin. Just the... Oh, that's such a bummer. But at least I can... I see what you put there. Supported. Thank you so much for the support. We will fix this for the next show where we'll be able to pin hopefully YouTube chats right here underneath me. But right now it's just pinning the Twitch chats. And if you haven't already, go over to Twitch and subscribe to us there. I think it's under the Extinguisher 986. Okay. So what should we talk about first? I think we should go in like... I think we're going to do Burlison's comments last. And go, this is actually two interesting things. This one I wanted to talk about here. So this is Jeremy Corbell. A couple of days ago, November 6th, saying, is AARO going to solve/resolve a, quote, trans-medium UFO case for us? Quote, previously reported trans-medium object has been resolved and the case details are being prepared for public release in the near future. Susan Goff, Pentagon spokesperson for UAP. Makes me wonder, says Jeremy Corbell, if they're referencing the 2019 USS Omaha UAP swarm footage, or if they are talking about the 2013 Aguadilla, Puerto Rico UAP footage recently re-released by Customs and Border Patrol. I'm trying to remember, because there was a couple of years back where Jeremy Corbell just released a whole bunch of stuff. Sound is fine at the moment. There's still time to mess about. All right. Anyway, I'm sure this sounds fine. So I'm wondering if Susan Goff is referring to one of the videos that Jeremy Corbell released, not only the swarm one, but the one where the balloon goes underneath the water, or what most people think is a balloon goes underneath the water and it splashes down. And people were calling that transmedium. So it looks like Jeremy Corbell is positioning himself to not look as stupid as possible whenever this video does come out that they have resolved, that the Pentagon has resolved. And, yeah, it's no shocker there. Absolutely no shocker. It's, at least he's hopefully going to, well, I mean, look, I'm not going to knock the guy if he's going to correct what he got wrong. That would be nice to see from Jeremy Corbell. Lord knows he didn't do that with 29 Palms. So I doubt he'll do it here. But we'll see. I mean, I've been having some fun conversations behind the scenes with some really, really cool folks. And, we were theorizing. It's been interesting to see Jeremy Corbell in the last few months, especially on the Steve-O podcast, where in a lot of ways he kind of walks back his importance to ufology and being a, quote, UFO expert. I mean, he genuinely walks it back. So it's interesting to see that. That is for sure. I'm not really sure what's happening there. I have a feeling, and we're going to get into it in a second here as well. Maybe Jeremy Corbell is in some trouble. Possibly. I don't know. But those are kind of the whispers I'm hearing. Those are the things that are going around right now online, especially when it comes to some footage we're going to talk about here in a second. Interesting. So it's stuttering, huh, guys? Oh, that sucks. I don't know why my internet craps out every time I go live for some reason now. Anyway, I hope it's not too bad, you guys. I hope it's not too bad a stutter. I mean, we still have a connection. We're still streaming at 30 frames per second. Hope the sound is not. Is the sound choppy, Fifi? Sounds good? Okay, well, if it sounds good, I can live with bad video, and hopefully we'll get it straightened out for the next show. All right, cool. At least I sound good. Okay, so yeah, and again, like referencing Chris Sharp and the Liberation Times, and it's just interesting to see them sort of post this, because that's not usually their move. And then Politico posted an article on November 7th, talking about Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick and his, he is leaving the AARO office, the All Domain Anomaly Resolution office, that he heads up for the Pentagon. He is literally the top man. So we read a little bit of this. The head of the Pentagon office responsible for investigating UFOs is stepping down from his post in December, he said in an exclusive interview Tuesday. Sean Kirkpatrick, the head of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, is retiring from the federal government after nearly 18 months on the job. He deferred his planned retirement last year to take the job atop AARO and now feels he's achieved his goals, he said. Quote, "I'm ready to move on. I have accomplished everything I said I was going to do," end quote, Kirkpatrick said, adding that he still wants to finish a few tasks, including wrapping up the first volume of historical review of the the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena issue before leaving. Kirkpatrick's deputy, Tim Phillips, will lead the office in an acting role until the Pentagon hires a permanent replacement, Kirkpatrick said. A physicist, Kirkpatrick took on the role at AARO after spending decades in a variety of scientific jobs for the military. You know what? Let me do this too. Go ahead and just kill that right there. So that way maybe it'll help out a little bit with the stream. Kirkpatrick's tenure has been marked by a high level of public and congressional interest in the issue of UFOs and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. The Biden administration established the office in July 2022 under Kirkpatrick's leadership to look into the unidentified craft military pilots have increasingly reported seeing in the skies and whether they are posed a threat to national security. Since Kirkpatrick has investigated more than 800 cases, AARO has been in the news frequently in the last few months, including for its role in helping the U.S. detect a fleet of Chinese surveillance balloons. So a lot of those people who say that AARO is useless, that goes to show right there that, hey, at least they got something done that was of use. Hold on 1 second, guys. One second, guys. I want to test something here. I think it's so frustrating to find these things when as soon as you go live. Okay. Actually, my internet's really fast right now. Moderately fast. I mean, it's 15 megabytes per second with a 415 Mbps. I mean, it should be okay to stream. It's weird. Okay. Anyway. It's weird. I thought we had this figured out. It was running so great the last show. Kirkpatrick himself made headlines this summer when he fired back at whistleblowers' explosive claim that the government is covering up a decades-long program to reverse engineer alien craft. AARO has not uncovered any evidence to support the claim, Kirkpatrick said at the time, calling the comments insulting. The whistleblower, retired Air Force intelligence officer Major David Grusch, has refused multiple requests to interview with AARO, Kirkpatrick said. Lawmakers, witnesses, and UFO enthusiasts, however, have continued to criticize what they call a lack of transparency from the government regarding the phenomenon. But Kirkpatrick said AARO has made strides where transparency is concerned, including launching a long-anticipated online tool for former and current service members and government employees to report UFOs. Quote, Dr. Kirkpatrick has served the American people with honesty and integrity, tackling an incredibly difficult mission to explain the unknown, Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks said in a statement. His commitment to transparency with the United States Congress and the American public on UAP leaves a legacy the department will carry forward as AARO continues its mission. End quote. Another memorable moment came when he co-authored the draft academic paper posting it? Wait. Persisting? anyway, that the unidentified AARO is studying could be an alien probe from a mothership. So that's the paper that he co-authored with Avi Loeb, which Kirkpatrick said the document that was posted online was in draft form and did not have the permission to be published. However, he does not regret his involvement. So that's interesting to also know that, yeah, Kirkpatrick didn't want that published, and they did it without his permission to add, I bet, credibility to it. So that's interesting. It's also interesting that seems to be a huge disconnect where Sean Kirkpatrick is saying that he reached out to Grusch multiple times to no avail. Grusch did not respond. And we've seen him do that with the Washington Post. We've seen him do that with some major news outlets. But when it comes to Yes Theory, The Debrief, Leslie Kean, Ralph Blumenthal, no problem. She's got no problem talking to those people. But according to Kirkpatrick, he couldn't get a call back from him. And then when Grusch was asked about this, he said that that's a lie, straight up lie. That he left multiple messages with Kirkpatrick and made it very simple, basically. Made it very clear where he can be found. And again, like, we've seen Grusch basically say that he could get more information, but he just doesn't want to do the paperwork. That he could give people information in a skiff, but doesn't want to pay for the plane ticket or the hotel fee. He wants everything covered for him, including his room and board and food, so he wants to be treated, a la carte when he's in Washington. And it's just like, this doesn't seem like the behavior of someone who's dying to get a secret out, who's dying to be validated for the things that he's saying that haven't been validated yet. Again, a lot of trust me, bros. I heard it from a guy who heard it from a guy who was told by another person. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. I know that there are already FOIA requests in to see the communication to Dr. Kirkpatrick's email and office, which is a publicly funded office. So they should be able to get those emails to see if Kirkpatrick is lying or Dave Grusch is lying. And I wonder what happens if it turns out that Dave Grusch is lying and that Kirkpatrick reached out to him multiple times with no response. If that is true, what will the UFO believers say then? What will they say then? I'm so curious. Like, what will be the excuse then? I don't know. There's always excuses. Like, I've done a few spaces here in the last couple weeks, and it is mind-numbing and head-bashingly frustrating. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm lashing out a little bit. There's always a moving of the goalposts. There's always a yeah, but. Especially when it's faced with, hey, show me the facts. What are the facts of this case? This MH370 is a perfect example. This fake video that people are like, but what if it's real? Why are we even asking that question? We all know the video is fake. It starts from bullshit. It starts from a story that is now almost 10 years old. Nobody picked it up the first time. Now all of a sudden people are back on it because the community's bored. And they have nothing to talk about. So they're drudging up, this time, MH370. And it's gross. Like, people are dead, missing forever. They're done. And there are families that, shit, man, like, they want answers more than anyone else. And it's not aliens or orbs transporting an entire plane to another dimension. And that's another thing. Like, ask anybody, okay, what's the theory? What's the working idea behind this entire thing? No one could give you a theory. Everyone agrees that the video can't be corroborated. Nobody knows where it comes from. Everybody agrees that there's a filter that's been put on it to make it look like it's a thermal camera that's seeing these things. Nobody knows where this information comes from. There's no metadata. There's nothing. But yet we're investing all of these hours just discussing it, which I whatever, do whatever you want, but it's futile. It's so futile, because guess what? When something happens this month that's super exciting for everyone, all of that research, all of that philosophizing, all of that thinking about it and, well, what ifs, they all go away, because then it's on to the next thing. It's on to the next flavor of the week. And it's like a group of dogs just running to the next set of scraps instead of just sitting back and waiting for something more substantial to fall off the table. Maybe even an empty stool to get up to the table. Set a higher standard of evidence, a higher discussion. Put this discussion in a place where real serious people take it seriously. But we just don't want that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants it. Complizziert, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. I wish I could pin it, but I could bring it back up here. $5 for Lou. Thank you, man. James Grifton Fox plus cowbell. It's true, man. Like, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. We'll get to James Fox in a little bit too here. It's just so wild. He's like Mr. Untouchable. No one's allowed to criticize James Fox. It's so wild, man. So wild. Jet setting around the world on people's dime to follow fake UFO fan fiction. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I could agree with that, Simon Fly. For sure. For sure. All right. So, of course, we've got in Mexico City, extraterrestrials return to Mexico's Congress as journalists press case for non-human beings. I love Who's Axelrod. I love when she posts about these things. It's just so great. Just one of these people who succinctly just breaks down what's happening with these stupid mummies. Article pulled no punches, or she's pulling from an article. Pull no punches on Jaime Maussan's alien mummy coverage. So Mexico City, the lower chamber of Mexico's Congress once again turned to spectacle Tuesday, devoting hours of its time to a controversial character who pressed the case for, quote, non-human beings. He said we're found in Peru less than 3 weeks after a Category 5 Otis devastated Acapulco, a port near 1 million people. The Chamber of Deputies spent more than 3 hours listening to journalist Jose Jaime Maussan and his group of Peruvian doctors. Maussan and some Mexican lawmakers became the subject of international ridicule in September when he presented 2 boxes with supposed dummies found in Peru. He, along with others, claimed they were, quote, non-human beings that were not part of our terrestrial evolution, end quote. In 2017, Maussan made similar claims in Peru and reported by that the country's prosecutor's office found the bodies were actually, quote, recently manufactured dolls which have been uncovered with a mixture of paper and synthetic glue to simulate the presence of skin, end quote. The report added the figures were almost certainly human-made and that, quote, they are not the remains of an ancestral aliens that they have tried to present. The bodies were not publicly unveiled at the time, so it is unclear if they are the same as those presented to Mexico's Congress. On Tuesday, Dr. Daniel Mendoza showed the photographs and x-rays of what he said was, quote, non-human being. Maussan said it was, quote, a new species, as it did not have lungs or ribs. And so here are some of the new mummies. It's such a joke, man. Like, this is as serious as you guys are going to get right here. This is as good as it is. This is the bar. This is the bar that we set. It's so wild to me too. Right now there's a there are people being attacked in South America by UFOs every day apparently, and not one researcher's going down there to find out if there's any validity to it, or if it's just a bunch of people, you know, having a mass hallucination and freaking each other out, which people do all the time. Man, I just can't believe we waste our time on this stuff. Like, we give this stuff validity, that we have people like Ryan Graves showing up. Look at this shit, dude. Charlie Weiser. There's a second hearing in Mexico right now about the Nazca bodies. If you want to listen to unbearably ignorant, stupid, unqualified, and or paid off people talking about absolute nonsense, tune in live. Link is down below. Here's a taster. They have certified with no doubt that these bodies had life. Look at the legs, dude. They're not even connected to the pelvis by any kind of tissue. They're just bones jammed up against the hip. It's so goddamn funny, dude. It's so funny. And then it's got like 3 eggs in its abdomen, as if this thing's like a reptile or something. It's so stupid, dude. So stupid. And anybody who gives this any attention, anybody who does a live stream following this nonsense and giving it any time, like, that's another thing. Like, there was a discussion yesterday. Well, you can't, you know, belittle the people who are looking into it. Look, if you're looking into the earth being flat, I'm gonna belittle it. If you're going to look into clearly CGI footage that is fake, I'm going to belittle it. If you're claiming that an alien found after a Category 5 hurricane in a third world country is producing, you know, X-rays with 3 alien eggs and legs that don't connect to actual bones with any sort of you know, tendons or you know, what's the, you know, joints whatsoever. It's just things mashed together. It's just so dumb. I'm going to belittle it. I'm gonna belittle it if this is the shit that you're gonna put up. It's so stupid, man. Like, and I'm not saying you're stupid. I understand people are curious, but it's like some things are just so obvious. They're so obvious. Just, Megan didn't get to Lou. Give me a break, man. It's like you press Megan on the questions, she can't answer them. She didn't get to me. She got flustered by me. But what if? Suspend belief. Doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. Common sense, forget about it. Forget about it. It's a fugazi, common sense. Don't need it. Forget about it. It's like, dude, what are we doing? What are we doing? So here's another thing. Moving on to to Jeremy Corbell again. And this was posted by Aerotech Research, who DM'd me this information. Again, these are questions that we've been asking for a while, but, you know, now it's sort of put together in a really nice, succinct way. He writes, or he posts, excuse me, I'm gonna grab some water. He posts, what Jeremy Corbell doesn't want anyone to talk about is how he came into possession of sensitive geospatial imagery over active war zones, i.e. the Mosul Orb, the Baghdad Phantom. especially since Grusch had direct access to the exact information. Coincidence? So this brings up a really good question. Why is a guy who was a senior GEO-INT capabilities requirements officer at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency feeding information to a hoaxer and UFO fan fiction filmmaker, Jeremy Corbell? And that's being really nice. Geospatial intelligence, or GEOINT, is the exploitation of analysis of imagery and geospatial information. GEOINT consists of imagery, intelligence, and geospatial information. This is classified stuff. This is stuff that Jeremy Corbell should not be getting. And if he is, why isn't the Department of Defense knocking on his door and asking, where the hell did you get that? Where did you get that? Who gave it to you? Because that's a huge breach in national security. Could this be why he's backing down in podcasts like with Steve-O, where he's sort of walking back his importance and involvement in this stuff? Is that why he's put a number and an expiration date on Weaponized with George Knapp? Like, there's only a limited run of episodes they're doing. They're ending the show, I think, fairly soon, if I'm not mistaken. Is there a reason why he hasn't come out with any new high noon drops since 29 Palms and that embarrassment? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. But it's just interesting to see how they're walking back on this stuff, man. They always do. They always walk back on this stuff. So this is the big one of the day, and I found this just so refreshing to finally hear from a lawmaker put a little bit of clarity and expectations on what you're probably going to get out of the AARO office, out of the Pentagon, and out of the UFO discussion as a whole. And I think Representative Burlison is finally, as a freshman congressman, is starting to realize what's happening here. And that's another thing that I just have to always remind people, like, with the exception of Burchett, if I'm not mistaken, all of these congressmen are freshman congressmen. Again, they don't sit on any committees that allow them or give them the access to classified information to look at the stuff in the skiff, to hear the most classified data, to understand why or how someone might get confused by looking at this kind of data for alien tech. They don't have the access to it. But this is finally, for the first time, and I think you're going to start hearing a lot more lawmakers coming out and saying things like this. Turn this up.
I personally, based on what I have, just from my worldview and what I've so far seen and heard, personally, based on what I have, just from my worldview and what I've so far seen and heard, I have yet to be convinced that what we're seeing is an alien species from another solar system somewhere, light years away.
Okay. He has yet seen evidence to convince him that it's an alien species from light years away. Okay, that's your hero. That's your fighter of disclosure and truth telling you, yeah, it ain't aliens. I haven't seen any evidence of it at all. And again, he doesn't have the clearance to look at that stuff, but the stuff he does have the clearance to look at so far hasn't checked out to be aliens. And they still haven't had the skiff meeting with Grusch, which they, I believe, announced yesterday, which is going to cost the taxpayer $20,000 to make happen, that meeting. So, and we're not going to get any answers at all. As the public, as American taxpayers, we are not going to get any answers to a meeting that we are paying for, to a supposed whistleblower that hasn't given any factual hardline data at all. So I'm interested to see what the lawmakers are saying after they come out of this skiff, if they can even say much at all. We'll see.
I have a hard time believing that. I think it's more likely that what we're seeing is more advanced technology that's being generated here on Earth. Now, it could be very likely that at one point in time, a long time ago, maybe something did crash and that we're reverse engineering it, but that's not, I just have a hard time believing that narrative. So I think the most likely narrative is that what we're seeing, I mean, look, the SR-71 Blackbird was invented, 1950s, 60s? That thing was amazing. It was created with a slide rule. There was no computers. These engineers did not have AI to test things out.
It sounds like someone's giving human ingenuity a lot of credit. And even when I was the most avid believer, I would always look at the SR-71 Blackbird and be like, man, that thing was around for decades before we knew about it. And he talks about it here. It wasn't introduced until the 80s. That's 40 years of secrecy on one plane. So it's not that big a leap to say, yeah, maybe some of the things people are seeing is our tech. And our military much rather have us look in the sky, see something weird, and go, oh my God, it's aliens, than have us say, oh my God, United States Navy, must be a new plane. And take a picture of it and post it on the internet for all of our enemies to see. They'd much rather, if you're going to post it on the internet, say, oh my God, look, I caught a UFO. Must be aliens, because look, it made a sharp right angle turn. No human could survive that. Even though some of these things are nuclear powered drones that never come out of the sky. They could stay up there theoretically forever. So he goes on.
They made it, and it was a badass plane, right? Went near Mach 4 and was so fast that near Mach 4 and was so fast that no missile could take it down. Just absolutely remarkable. And we didn't know about it until the 80s. Okay. Now that amazing aircraft is now what? That happened how many years ago?
Yeah, that aircraft is older than I am.
It's right. 80 years old.
And so to me, to suggest that
think about that. They started developing that thing in the 40s. That's almost 100 years ago. The SR-71. Imagine what else these guys are sitting on. Imagine what they started developing in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s. Imagine what they're developing today. It's staring you right in the face, slapping you back and forth. Like a scene from Airplane in a Zucker Brothers film. Everybody on the plane is slapping you in the face with this information. And you refuse to see it. It's right there.
Our commercial industry that they've not been able to make advancements on.
Let me rewind this here real quick. Listen to this.
Commercial industry that they've not been able to make advancements.
This is like this. This is important right here.
Happened how many years ago?
Yeah, that aircraft is older than I am.
Right, and so to me, to suggest that our commercial industry that they've not been able to make advancements on propulsion or aviation in the last 60, 70 years, in my opinion, is just, I just don't buy it.
Listen to that. To suggest that our own commercial industry, that they've not been able to make advancements on propulsion or aviation in the last 60 to 70 years, in my opinion, is just, I don't buy it. He doesn't buy it. So I have a feeling that the information Grusch, again, like I'll leave the window open for Grusch to have just misinterpreted the information and just got it wrong. And if that's the case, man, I feel really bad for the guy. And he's already left that door open for himself 3 different occasions in one documentary. Just one documentary. He's already slipped that in there just in case he was wrong about this world-changing information. And if we have that kind of intelligence analysts in the Department of Defense, we got a lot bigger fish to fry. A lot bigger fish to fry. Dude, that's not good. That does not bode well for national security.
Especially given the fact that we live in an age where we have AI computers. Okay, we have quantum computers, which that is like just even understanding how a quantum computer works. Computers, which that is like just even understanding how a quantum computer works is mind blowing. We've discovered and proven quantum entanglement. Okay, we have discovered the Higgs boson particle, which is the gravitational field. The Higgs field is the gravitational field, and we discovered that 10 years ago. It's been almost 10 years since the Higgs boson was discovered. So I say all that to say we have had these amazing discoveries, these amazing advancements, and then we think that the only way to explain some of the things that we're seeing is to say that there's no way that was generated here on this planet.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
I cannot thank Eric Burlison enough for these statements. I think this adds a real level of expectations. Thank you, Chris Bartell, for the $5 super chat donation. Air power, global dominance is the objective. Everything else is a distraction. Quote. Is that a quote from you, Chris Bartell? Who is that a quote from? That is basically Space Force mission statement if you read it. Air power, global dominance is the objective. Everything else is a distraction. There you go. I mean, that quote is being given to you by a guy who used to do security at Area 51 and Skinwalker Ranch. Air power, global dominance is the objective. Everything else is a distraction. I love these comments from Rep Burlison, because this is cold water on a conspiracy fire that needs to be put out. There needs to be some expectations attached to these studies and to these offices and to these people, because I think one of the reasons why, other than he's just satisfied with the job that he's done and he hasn't found anything crazy or anomalous, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick I'm referring to, and the reason why he's retiring from the AARO office, is the harassment that he's received. Like a week leading up to this announcement, the online terrorist groups that attack and dox and harass people immediately attacked Dr. Kirkpatrick and started making lies and rumors as to why he's leaving. Oh, he was fired. He was fired, according to them. And then when you ask the Department of Defense and Susan Goff, they're like, no, nobody's been fired. You know, we're not making any announcements at this time, but nobody's being fired. And then he come out and he says, I accomplished the mission I was set out to do. And I'm kind of bored with this, is the feeling I get. And also, I don't want to deal with maniacs anymore. So it's good that we're putting some cold water on that stupid fire. So maybe some scientists can get some actual work done without, fear of being harassed by a bunch of fucking lunatics. There's a reason why I put their faces on a fucking picture of Al Qaeda. Because these guys terrorize the community. Again, they've doxed my co-host and friend, Rather Be Squidding, who, by the way, is going to make a little comeback. Whoa, hey, we got our first $20 donation. And Bryant, thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. Go ahead and replay that one. And that's what happens when you hit a $20 dono. You get the old Friday. Hey, I want to test something else out. I'm curious to know if you guys hear this. Let me know if you hear this. Oh, wait. Is it not going to play? Well, let me do this one.
Is that all?
Let me know if you guys heard that little clip there. I'm curious because I can't hear it. Anyway, what the hell was I saying? Oh, yeah. You know, comparing these guys to terrorists it makes sense, man. When they've harassed people, they've lied about people, they've doxed people's children. They've made death threats to not just people within the UFO subculture community, but outside of it, scientists, directors of programs at the Department of Defense. They've made up lies, like really abhorrent lies about people. So I've got no issue comparing them to that. You know, their Quran is Dave Grusch. That is their Quran. That is their Bible. You know, and they will do anything, say anything, and destroy anything that gets in the way of that belief system. It's crazy. So it's really, really, really nice to see a lawmaker that they've been propping up as this hero of theirs finally drop the inference and add some damn clarity and some rationality and some managing of expectations to this discussion. Talking about the Higgs boson and how we just discovered that 10 years ago. That just happened. Quantum computing, we're on the verge of these things. So you could bet your ass that if we're on the verge of it, somebody's maybe already discovered it and is already playing with it on some level. And if they are, you could bet your ass it's probably on a weapon first before it's on anything else. So there's a little bit more left. Let's see what else he's got to say here.
That was generated here on this planet.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt that a lot of this is going to be black projects and things like that. The thing is that you as a member of Congress, can they tell you that? Can they say, yeah, we've got some stuff, but we can't really, we don't want this.
These are great questions, by the way, too. Just wonderful questions. I'd love to get credit to where this is from. Let me see if she link the whole YouTube interview is here. So I'll put this link in the description below so you guys can listen to the whole interview.
I rise to support.
But it's Event Horizon, I guess, is the where it was posted first. Anyway, the link that they use joins Michael. Okay, so the guy who is doing the interview is Michael Gaudier to discuss the need for oversight on potential historical and current UAP retrieval and reverse engineering programs. So I'm wondering. Wonder where this discussion, if this is a discussion that they had here on this show, or they just took the interview from somewhere else and just posted it on their channel. Anyway, credit to John Michael Gaudier for this interview of Eric Burlison. So just want to give that shout out here. Great questions. I just had to say, like, these are the questions that I've been wanting somebody to ask a lawmaker.
Is to say that there's no way that was generated here on this planet.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt that a lot of this is going to be black projects and things like that. The thing is that you as a member of Congress, can they tell you that? Can they say, yeah, we've got some stuff, but we don't want this out there publicly? So do you think that might be what you're dealing with, is a sort of reluctance to release information on highly classified, highly advanced systems that we've developed?
That's what I suspect that it is. I think there's a reluctance to, if they've discovered a way to manipulate the Higgs field and use an aircraft to do it, that would be a game changer. And you would not want that technology to end up in the wrong hands. And so I can see why you would want to keep that under severe lock and key. But that's not, let me say this. I'm not.
All right. Stone Ape, thanks you for the $1.99 donation. I'll address that comment shortly. Trust me, I'll talk about it. I've got no issue talking about that comment whatsoever and why I asked that question. So we'll get to it. Thanks for the question.
Everything I've said to you guys is stuff that is content that I've learned outside of a secure setting. It's just my speculation based on the things that I have seen and or just rationalized through. Sadly, in the secure settings, we can't, like, I feel like we walk out with less information than we did when we walked in.
And that makes sense because, again, he doesn't have the access to get into those into those classified information. He doesn't have that access. He just doesn't. So, again, this is just based off of the things that he's seen, that he's heard. This is the opinion that he's coming to, and he sees where the technology is. And again, like, if the United States military has somehow found a way to manipulate a Higgs boson and use it and apply it to flight, he said himself, it's a game changer. A game changer. And you don't want that technology ending up in the wrong hands. And I am dying to know what a technology like that would look like, how it would express itself in the sky. What would it look like? I am so curious to know. Like, if theoretically speaking, like, that's something I theoretically would love to dive into. What would a Higgs boson attached to an SR-71 Blackbird look like? How would that help the plane travel through space, maybe time? Who knows? So again, like, to this idea of not giving human ingenuity enough credit is one of the most asinine things about this discussion. It's one of the things I really had to bash over my own head with, is just like, quit discrediting human ingenuity. We have done some amazing things. Again, just one example, that SR-71 Blackbird example, a spy plane that was starting to be developed in the 1940s. And it wasn't revealed into the 80s and was used up until a few years ago. I mean, this is almost 80-year-old technology that still works almost to this day. What have they replaced it with? What else have they developed? I mean, these are the things that we should be talking about. These are the things that we should be asking the Department of Energy and representatives that can get answers out of the Department of Energy, because I bet a lot of these toys are there. Forget about Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. Like, you're never going to get into those because those are private companies. The Department of Energy, I don't think, is technically a part of government, and it has no accountability to the purse whatsoever. But I think if we pressured lawmakers, like, that's something that taxpayer dollars go into. There should be some accountability at the Department of Energy. We've spoken about it many times. And if you want to talk about free energy or a way to get off of a heavy oil dependence, I guarantee you the answer is sitting in a patent or in a file somewhere in the Department of Energy that's being used on a plane, a submarine, or an aircraft carrier. God knows what else. Drones, who knows? But this idea, like, you just write it off like, no way, it's not possible. It's impossible for that to happen. There's just no way. It could not be. Well, I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. And if you just add some common sense to this discussion, I think I think the one thing that has been kind of encouraging, again, is like, you do see some people slowly changing. You do see some people finally coming to the idea, oh shit, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, why is there a journalist who is also a huge leader and advocate of this discussion hiding the area and the known whereabouts of a craft so big that a building had to be built around it? Like, we need to set the bar way higher if you guys want it to be a real discussion. If you want some of these theories, these theoretical physics to actually be explored, like, we need better data. We need better discussions. We need better questions. We need better researchers. We need better filmmakers. We need better everything overall in this discussion. We need newer and different scientists. We've got immunologists discussing about things like metallurgy. What is an immunologist? I'm sorry, but like, there's no degree in Gary Nolan's resume that qualifies him to be a metallurgist. He's not a theoretical physicist. He's a guy who helped cure some cancers, which is awesome, amazing. Okay, but like, he thinks he's been abducted. He thinks he's seen UFOs, so and not to say he's wrong or that it didn't happen, but he's got a bias. He's got a horse in this race, whether he likes to admit it or not. And I think that's the biggest issue with Gary Nolan, is that he's biased. He's not looking at the data in an unbiased way. And that's just proof in his behavior. Like, how is it that a YouTube podcast host and actor in Los Angeles frustrates Gary Nolan so much with the questions that he asks? Not because he's being rude to him, not because he's picking on him, not because he's making fun of him, but because he can't answer simple questions to the claims that he makes. Simple as that. He refuses to take any interviews that aren't softball interviews, like calling all beings. It's wild, and I don't count Theories of Everything as a very tough interview. It's always mind expanding. It's always interesting. It's always theoretical. It's always fun, but it's not a venue in which tough questions are asked a lot of times. And when tough questions do slip in, we see what happens, Linda Moulton Howe. We see what happens. Again, it's just mind-numbing. Absolutely mind-numbing. Okay. So let's get into what I asked Anjali today, which is, I think a lot of people had an issue with it. And I feel like I need to clarify. Some people think I crossed the line, but I'm going to give you my perspective on it and why I don't think I crossed the line. So, everyone who's anyone, I think, has a family member that's either survived or passed away from cancer. So from that perspective, I hope anyone who transmits this horrible disease finds a cure or eventually makes it into remission, where the cancers no longer exists in their body. Like, cancer is a terrible thing. And even for Anjali, I hope she gets the proper medication. I hope she gets the proper mental help. I hope for a lot of things for Anjali. But there is this part of me that gets very upset and sort of irks and grinds my gears when someone who a year ago, 2 years ago, was claiming that she was being healed and that the rest of the world, the wars in the planet were going to end because of her light being friends that she discovered in a mountain in a desert. She was telling people that she was healed by her friends, her beings. I understand that your heart bleeds for her, but where's your heart for the person who has cancer or a terminal illness that hears this mumbo jumbo and stops taking their medicine because they think that an alien's going to heal them? Where's your bleeding heart for those people who fall for this stuff and end up getting sicker? I think these opportunities, I'm happy that she survived her second cancer surgery in a month, and I would wish that on no one. That's awful. But I think these are also golden opportunities to just showcase how silly their theories and their claims are. Because the question was really simple, and it wasn't asked in a rude way, because I don't understand. I just simply wrote, I don't understand why the aliens don't cure you. Why are they not helping you beat this? It's a fair question. It's a fair question. And I hope that people who believe it read that and say to themselves, yeah, why aren't they solving world peace? Why aren't they solving my personal illness? Because it's not true. It's a lie. And it's a destructive lie. Told by a person who's claiming to be all about love and light, but has been proven over and over and over and over again to be a liar, an unreliable narrator. And that doesn't mean she deserves what's happening to her. No one deserves that. Nobody. Not even King Milkfart. But these opportunities are rare. And if I could ask a question like that, I'm going to ask it every time. Because it challenges the belief system. And that's my goal. That is my main goal. That is what I am now. I am the thorn in the side of belief. That's my mission. I'm going to attack it with the same ferocity and the same passion and the same laughs as I did with anything that you guys seen me do. How do I know it's a lie? Come on, man. Because the aliens aren't healing her. That's how I know it's a lie. She has to take terrestrial medications and treatments to treat it. That's how I know it's a lie. So you can get mad at me all you want. You can get upset or offended. I'm not going to change, man. I'm going to call this out every time. I'm going to call it out every time. And it was a good question. And I'm glad you guys called me out on it, because now we can dive into it. Now I can give you the philosophy behind it, because I know at the surface, it doesn't feel very nice. It doesn't feel very nice because there's no context, getting lost in translation. But it's a genuine question. They healed you once. Why not now? And it's rude. Why? Because it exposes her lie while she's going through treatment? If you don't make those claims, I don't think you get anybody asking questions like that. Let's see. What did Kimball say? Super chat. Thank you, man, for the super chat. Why are these super chats not working here? I can't bring them back up. It's weird. Let me refresh it. Let's see what happens if I refresh it. Anyway, Kimball says, I'm not suggesting you or anyone ingest illegal substances like mushrooms or Molly, but in some cases it may help people increase their capacity for empathy. Where's your empathy for the people who get fooled by this? Where's your empathy for the people who die because they took bad information? Where's your empathy for them? To me, this is speaking up for them. The people who aren't on Twitter. The people who can't discern this shit. Oh, there it is. It just came through there. Kimball Mortensen. Thank you so much. And I know you're not trying to be contrarian here. You know, just to be contrarian. RPK said it best. It was an edgelord 13-year-old atheist take. Considering some of the things that you've backed and said, okay, you know, if that's the worst thing you guys have on me, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to apologize for somebody hurting other people. I'm not going to do it. So wild, man. It's just like, we will make every excuse in the book to let these folks get away with saying anything. And it's even like criticizing James Fox. You guys, James Fox is a millionaire. And he became a millionaire making movies about UFOs. And now he's in a position where he has to continue that narrative to continue to make money. Because God forbid if he made a movie actually divulging the real facts of things, he wouldn't make any money at all, let alone get scammed by some production company. And it looks like it's 1091 that is having issues paying out residuals or, back end payments on films that have been produced for that studio. So that's what it seems like's happening. We'll see as more facts keep coming out. But it seems like both Stephen Greer and James Fox are pissed off because they're not getting their money. They're not getting their money and they're pissed off. James Fox lied to you guys when he said he had the alien footage of the Varhinya UFO incident. He had the footage. He had it. And then when the movie came out, after he hyped it up and sold it, when the movie came out, then it became, oh, I'm issuing a reward for the footage of the alien from the Varhinya case. They lie. They overhype their movies. They lie to you. And then they sell you these movies in which they make millions of dollars off the sales and the distribution rights and the deals that they get every time it goes from Netflix to Amazon to iTunes. Every single one of those platforms, they get a deal for. This is a billion-dollar industry. It is a billion-dollar industry, and all of these people are fighting for their slice of the pie. And when you, God forbid, critique them, everybody jumps on your shit because they made one good movie. And to be honest, if we went back and reviewed it right now, I don't think it's going to hold up. And I guarantee you that some of the questions that they pose in that movie are never answered in any other film that goes forward. And there's been no growth in the James Fox filmography. Like, the movies are all the same. It's the same formula. It's the same narrator, for fuck's sake. Crowdsource the film. Don't put any of your own money into it. And then turn around and charge the people you crowdsourced to do it. And then get upset when the studio can't pay you your residuals. Boo-hoo. Cry me a river. Am I going to sit here and feel sorry for people making millions of dollars off of a false narrative that they know in their heart of hearts is false, but they're doing it because it's an awesome paycheck? And that's why they're trying to pump out as many films as possible, at least one every year and a half. They're pumping one out because it's a huge moneymaker. Just like every year and a half, they're pumping out a new book, Revelations of Skinwalker Ranch, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, The Hunt for the Skinwalker. Like, all of these stupid books and stupid movies that are just cash cows for these guys. Wake up. Like, they're not your friends, man. And they don't care about you. They really don't. They don't give a shit about you. And they don't care about this topic whatsoever. All they care about is the bottom line. And it's a big bottom line. And again, I only scratched the surface of that bottom line. Make it 35, almost 40 grand a year. And if I just stayed on the trajectory, Lord knows how much money I'd be making right now. But I didn't want to sell my audience a lie. I'd rather just be honest with you guys. And I know sometimes that it hits harshly. Truth sucks, man. It's not fun. Thank you so much, Compliziert, for the last donation. I really appreciate it. Let's see here. I'm not standing Fox nor liars, but there's a time and place. A potential deathbed is not the place, brother. I don't care how rare the occasion. Please develop empathy. Oh, my goodness, man. Where's your empathy for the people who fall for this shit? That's where my empathy is. That's where this comes from. I don't know how else I could explain it. And who said it was her deathbed? Okay, bye, MacArthur. Ciao. I mean, it's just so funny, man. Nobody's got any empathy for the victims of these bullshitters. None whatsoever. Forget about them. We don't see them, we don't hear them, therefore they don't exist. Whatever. Moving on, man. I don't want to dwell on this topic anymore. And this is like, again, like these are the reasons why nobody wants to talk about this shit anymore. Because you can't call out bullshit. Because every time you do, you get crucified for it. Like, how come nobody's calling? Like, shit, I was gonna move on. Let's just move on. I guess we'll just let her do more Gaia appearances and spread the message of alien healing to other people. I guess we're just cool with that. I can accept maybe light lack of tag. But again, you know, you're right. There was nothing offensive in that question. It's a genuine question. It's a genuine question, man. And again, like I led with, I have empathy for people with diseases. How could I not? Everybody knows somebody, they love somebody with an ailment like this. There's empathy, trust me. And there's empathy for Anjali. There's empathy for her. But there's no empathy for the things she says and the things she promotes and the people she fools and the people that she may have gotten sicker and the people who might have died because of the things that they listened to that were coming out of her mouth. Those are the things I don't have empathy for. And so, yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. This is a frustrating topic, and it's just like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. And it's so destructive, and it's so dividing. Look at this. Look how stupid this is, man. So dumb. Unreal. Anyway, couple of things coming up. So our McGowan interview will be probably after Thanksgiving, just because, you know, he's married and he's got a lot of stuff, a lot of chores to do for the Thanksgiving holiday. So we'll be doing that interview after Thanksgiving. But yeah, Jeremy McGowan's going to address everything that Sean Cahill said. I you know, shit, dude, talk about feeling bad for somebody. Look at what happened to UFO Shane over the weekend, all because he asked really simple question that was prefaced with 5 minutes of, hey, I don't mean to be a jerk when I ask this question. Hey, I'm prefacing this with, I like you. I think you're cool. I think this. I'm buttering up, which is something I was very guilty of. I did that on my show all the time. I think that's something we'll discuss it when McGowan's here. But I think that's something we all need to be aware of, like how much we butter up these people before we ask them questions. Like, there's no need to butter them up. Hello, thank you for taking my question, and here it is. You know, I think we walk on eggshells every time these people do a space or answer questions. I mean, just from my perspective, I could tell you that the things Sean Cahill said, I don't believe he's healed as much as he has. When he says things like, referring to Jeremy McGowan, when he said, you know, that's the first time in my life that I'd ever spoken to someone like that. That's not true. You know, we have multiple corroborated reports of him yelling at Melinda Leslie in a hallway at a UFO conference in Vegas. We have McGowan's account of how he had treated him. We have the transcript and what he thought of Captain David Fravor, Commander David Fravor, shortly after he came out publicly in 2017. My personal experience with Sean Cahill was not positive whatsoever. So to believe his you know, this claim that, oh, I've healed, I've changed, man, let's open up the line of communication. Like, I tried for months, and I got Jeremy McGowan to write an apology letter to Sean Cahill, to which he did not call or respond to. I think, well, he might have responded to it in an email, but basically left it at that. And never continued the relationship, never tried to actually heal that relationship. I tried for months, and it was Cahill who didn't want it, not McGowan. Like, you know how hard it was to get Jeremy McGowan to write an apology letter to Sean Cahill? Like, he tried. He genuinely tried. I genuinely tried multiple times to understand why Cahill was frustrated with me. He would just ignore me and talk shit behind my back. So, yeah, we'll get into it. There's a lot of interesting stuff. But yeah, I feel bad for Shane, man. He got ousted by the community. Everybody hates him now. You know, he's harassed and he's already been doxxed. You know, he's already got a local 556 and Go Kick Rocks on the show. Yeah, that'd be cool. I should get both of them on the show. I know I've been wanting to get local 556 on the show for a little bit. I just been busy. Been really busy, you guys. And I can't, and that's another thing. Like, I can't wait for you guys to know what I'm working on behind the scenes. Hands down, the best, most exciting project that I've maybe ever been a part of. So, some big meetings happening this week, and we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. I'm super, super excited. I'm like bursting at the seams. I cannot wait for people to know what we're up to and the things that we're doing. But we'll see. You know, Hollywood is fickle. Sometimes things don't happen even when they look really good. So manage expectations and hopefully it happens. And so, yeah, I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I don't think there is. I think that's the show, you guys. And yeah, you know, sorry we differ on the ending of this, you know, but what you guys think is mean or inappropriate, I see as an opportunity to shed some light on truth, especially for people who can't decipher the truth for themselves. But with that said, I still love all of you. I still wish well upon all of you. Like, I want you all to be happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise, as my stepdad used to say. You guys, thank you so damn much for hanging out and embarking on this journey of discovery together. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and thank you for subscribing to Lou Reviews. Until next time, don't forget, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Check out our Patreon if you'd like to support with the almighty dollar. Awesome. If you can't, like, share, subscribe. There's a long way. Until next time, thank you for helping raise the bar, and good night, y'all. Peace.